Komets Corner is presented by Lee's Famous Recipe.
To the blue line. Berger intercepted Dugan right out in front. He scores! Jack Dugan with the clean steal in front, and he beats Peretz, and the Komets take the lead at 4-3.
Well, that's a pretty good start to the week on a Wednesday afternoon in Bloomington.
Yeah.
Shane Albahrani joining us for Komets Corner. Obviously, the Komets are spending a lot of time away from home this month.
Yeah.
7 of their next 8 are away from home. But before we start talking about the future, let's kind of get back this past weekend. 3 games this past week. Kind of an odd Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So I was asking you off camera, the most important question of this week is, what did Shane do on a Saturday night off?
I'm happy to say I managed to stay off the newscast. I stay on the sportscast, so I behaved myself. So I'm very proud of myself for go ahead and kind of dulling it a little bit down there on Saturday.
I'll have to sift through our weekend mugshots to see if that is in fact true, if there's an alias. But when you take a look at the Komets, man, like it just feels like we're really hitting the down the stretch part of the season when you look at what's left, especially all these road games. Where would you assess where the Komets are right now, coming off a week where they win 2 of 3?
Oh, they're in a good spot. I mean, you're 2 points up on Iowa. You got a game at hand. You're going to play them 3 more times. Unable to really gain any ground on Toledo, but hey, that is what it is. If you're in second place here in the month of March, you're looking pretty good. If everything holds, you're going to have home ice there in the first round. You're feeling very comfortable. Obviously, you've got a nice, good lead, the set between first, second, third, and that 4th spot in the Central, so you got to feel pretty comfortable. And you got to like where this team is. Again, you lost on Sunday, unfortunately, at home, but you win the week. You win 2 out of the 3 games, and if you keep doing that, all is going to be pretty well in Comet Land.
All right, let's talk about that first game, because you go to Bloomington on Wednesday. It's a kids' game, so it's an afternoon game. It makes it a short weekend when you turn around and have to go on the road to play an afternoon game on Wednesday, but played pretty well. When you take a look at this Komets game on Wednesday, what were your big... Kyle Mayhew had a couple of goals, and then we heard already the Jack Dugan goal, which was a thing of beauty if you're a Komets fan, to watch them turn it over in their own zone and put it on the captain's stick, and then he puts it in the net. But what were your big takeaways from Wednesday against a Bloomington team that, they're an expansion team, but they played pretty well. Right now they're in position, for the 4th spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're a team that's going to be dangerous here because they've got a lot of guys called up or injured. When I got the lineup Wednesday morning, I was like, what's happened to this team? Where are all these guys? So, they played the Komets very tough there on Wednesday. They're going to get a lot of guys back in the lineup. We're going to see them a bunch of times here down the stretch. So, I think this is going to be a good rivalry here going into the playoffs, and who knows? You may see them there in the postseason. But they played very, very well. It was a very steady game. Kyle Mayhew got the 2 goals. Last time we had a Komet defenseman get a hat trick on the road was back in 2006, and I said that stat, and immediately he hit the post. You would have had that hat trick. So, but
obvious jinx.
Yeah, obvious jinx. And then Jack Dugan with the steal. Brett Brochu, another fine job in goal. And but I like the way this team is playing defensively. They're blocking a lot of shots. Nick Deacon-Poot has been wonderful. I think he's the unsung hero of this team. He's gotten so much better. What he does, doesn't show up on the stat sheet, so he does so many of the little things very well. The Komets lose Tyler Inamoto to an injury, so that's going to hurt a little bit. But again, you're in a good spot. You're going to get Jermaine Lowen here hopefully this week. Also Matt Bowden. So the team's going to change up a little bit this week.
And I think lost in the Mayhew getting 2 goals, and then the drama with Jack Dugan at the end was the deflected goal by Zach Jordan off, I believe, a slap shot by Noah Gansky. But just talk about Zach Jordan, because we haven't talked a lot about him, but he's a really good hockey player.
Yeah, no, this may be a steal at the end of the day. We traded Cam Suprika to Jacksonville, but Zach Jordan, he is a legit forward in this league. He's a big body. He knows how to use his size. He's got pretty good touch on the puck. He's a good power forward, which is something you need, especially going into the playoffs. So no, it's a great trade, and Zach Jordan is going to be a big part of this team going into the playoffs.
When you take a look at Jack Dugan heating up over the last actually the last 2 months. So I was going to say over the last couple of weeks, but really he's been so good since really the holidays.
Yeah.
But with Albahrani and him, I mean, you have two premier scorers, not to mention a lot of the other guys on the team, but you have two guys that are really, obviously Albahrani didn't have as great a week this week as his 6-goal week last week, but two guys that are elite type scorers or playmakers for the Komets. What does that give you coming down the stretch when you have those type of guys where if one guy isn't doing it, the other guy can pick up the slack?
Yeah, you know, Alex Albahrani and Jack Dugan, if Albahrani did not have that slump there, 19 games without a goal, he's probably in the MVP conversation. I think Jack Dugan also is going to be in that conversation at the end of the day. You also have Kyle Mayhew, who is the best defenseman in this league. I mean, he leads the league in points, and he's so good defensively as well. And then you throw in a guy like Jack Gorniak, another guy who I think might be the best defensive forward in the league. You get steady goaltending, which you have all season. That has not changed. I just really like where this team is right now. But there's a lot of guys who can step up. You know, Anthony Petruzzelli is a guy who loves to get those greasy goals. He's also very streaky. You know, you've got plenty of guys who can put the puck in the back of the net. No, we didn't show it on Sunday, but
well,
you ran into a hot goaltender.
Yes, that will happen.
Yeah, so no, I mean, I like the makeup of this team. And again, it's going to change. You know, Jesse Calicky is always in the market for an upgrade. You know, he was not afraid to pull the trigger on that trade to get Zach Jordan. He wasn't afraid to get Matt Murphy back, which was also an upgrade at the blue line. So there's always going to be movement on this team up until the deadline. You know, you're getting into college signing season. We signed Max Johnson out of Canada. He's another big body. I think he's 6'6".
Yeah.
So when you get Jermaine Lowen back in this lineup, this could be the biggest team ever for the Fort Wayne Komets. You got a lot of guys 6'5", 6'6" on this team.
I was going to say, when I read your press release, that was the thing that jumped out at me. I was like, "Ooh, this is a big dude." Let's take a look at some of the highlights from Friday, because you go down to the Indy Fuel. This one was chippy. We're going to see a lot of you know, a little bit of extracurriculars in this one, but that has been the case with the Indy Fuel this season. So hey, why not? But going into Friday, you had to feel pretty good coming off that road win on Wednesday against Bloomington. What were your takeaways from Friday? Because you come out and eventually win the shootout 2-1 with Justin Taylor, but just the excitement of this team and how well that they played defensively. I mean, gosh, the goalies were standing on their heads, it seemed like, at this point.
Yeah, Brett Brochu, I love it because he plays angry. You know, he got that anger about, you know, into the second period. He got run over, I think, there in the third with about, 5 minutes left. It looked like Connor Unger may have to come in for him, but Brett Brochu is such a gamer. He was like, no, you're not taking me out of this game. And he played with a lot of fire. And what I love is that the Komets are able to win close games. A 2-1 shootout game. Also, we won a close one in Kalamazoo a few weeks ago, 2-1. They're able to win these close games, and it's weird. You get in that weird set in the second period where it's a tie game, and it's like, oh, this just kind of screams that we're going to give up one late, and it doesn't. It's a bend and not break kind of mentality. And there's so many veterans on this team too. That's another thing that you need to look at is that you got a lot of guys who've been in the battles. You've got the Albahrani's, you have got the Justin Taylors, you got the Anthony Petruzzelli's, and now you're going to have a Matt Bowdens and a Matt Murphy. So that is also key. You have to understand that you have got these veterans that know how to win. They know how to get under your skin and not take penalties, like we saw in the game against Indy. And that's a team that plays very good defensively, but they can't score goals. But anytime you got good goaltending and good defense, you're always going to be in the game. And yeah, I mean, the Komets, I think they just came out and they were getting punched in the mouth, and they said, hey, give us your best shot, and then you go out and you have to kill a penalty. You basically skated shorthanded the entire overtime, and then you win it in 6 rounds in a shootout. It was a great game. That was great hockey, great drama, and that's the way it's going to be down the stretch, because Indy, every team now south of third place is playing for that 4th and final playoffs place, because they're all in it, and that's all the Komets are going to see in the month of March.
I was going to say, this felt a little bit more like a playoff game where every play was magnified, especially every penalty killer, every power play was magnified, and just the chippiness of the game. How fun is that to call a game like this where there are going to be a little scrums after almost every little stoppage in play?
It's great. It's great because it really shows the fire in both teams. And it also makes for an entertaining hockey game. Also, it's a rivalry game, so it really has all the parts and pieces to make it incredibly entertaining and dramatic. And as a broadcaster, that's what you want. You know, you want to be able to kind of take the fans on that roller coaster, as Justin Taylor took us on a roller coaster right there on that shootout game-winning goal. But no, I mean, I think all these games here in March and April are just going to be so much fun to watch.
When Justin Taylor was going through that possession and he had the, kind of lost the puck there for a little, but like smooth. I wonder if that was planned. Is that something that
you know what?
Because like a smooth, savvy veteran is like throwing off the goalie's timing, or I mean, it was a thing of beauty when it eventually went in the net. But yeah, your heart had to be a little in your throat.
I want to think it was intentional.
Yeah, that's the way I think.
That's the better story. Let's just say that the wily veteran threw off the goaltender on that. But his patented, not many guys throw a slap shot at the goalie on a shootout. But Justin Taylor, that's his patented move. And sure enough, it was the game winner. So he was able to control the puck. There was a little controversy there at the end of the game. The Indy bench was not happy that maybe they thought his forward momentum had stopped, but obviously it didn't. He was able to juggle it, get it back on the tape, and able to bury it.
Yeah, very, very. How many times did you see him in a shootout against the Komets when he was with Kalamazoo?
Not very many, actually. So I was actually kind of surprised that he went to the slap shot. The Komets have not been in very many shootouts over the past, really 5, 6, 7 years. That was only this is our third of this year. This is actually a lot.
Yeah.
And the Komets are 3-0. So again, it just shows that we're able to win close games.
Yes. Let's take a look at some of the Sunday highlights, because you got your Saturday night off, you got your Korean barbecue night off. So then the Komets are back home on Sunday afternoon, 5 o'clock against Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo, it feels like we played them a lot over the last couple of weeks.
That was the 10th meeting between the two teams, and we got one more with them up in Kalamazoo. And this is a team, I've been saying it for weeks. I don't want to play these guys down the stretch because there's just no quit in them. I mean, they, talent-wise, the Komets really skated up and down on Kalamazoo all game long. But this is a team that had a hot goaltender, and they just did not quit. We had a game, last week or 2 weeks ago when we were up 4-1 going to the third period and had to win it 5-4 in overtime. They are just a scrappy bunch of guys, and really, they're kind of my pick to get that fourth and final playoff spot in the Central.
We called it right here.
I'm calling
it right here. He doesn't want Kalamazoo, but, they're pretty solid. The thing that struck me is that, like you were saying, you run into a hot goalie, you outshot them 41-25.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like there weren't opportunities to be
had.
Yeah.
Hunter Vorva, he has been a thorn in the Komets side now for 2 years. He's a good goaltender. Komets really, there's a lot of rebounds last night. Komets were unable to capitalize on that. That was the one thing that Hunter Vorva does give up, a lot of rebounds. We just weren't able to get our timing down on some of those rebounds. And there was just some kind of crazy stuff that went on, it's funny that it was Peanuts night. You just think of Charlie Brown and the football, and then there at the end of the game where goaltenders pulled. It's 2-0, but we have a chance to get one on the board and maybe make things more interesting. Jack Dugan got a clean look at the net. His stick breaks on the slap shot, and then we put it in our own net. It was kind of fitting for the theme of the night.
Yeah, sometimes you have those nights.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's better to get them done in March
Exactly.
than April and May. After the game, we had a chance to talk with Ethan Keppen and also Nick Deacon-Poot, who you've already mentioned. Here's what they had to say about Sunday's effort.
We learn in professional hockey, like, those games happen all the time. Like, we've gotten wins this year that Broche and Ungs have stole for us, but we're happy with our effort tonight, but we're just going to move on and have a short-term memory. Obviously, we just got to obviously we couldn't score tonight, and I think we just need some more dirty opportunities tonight, so we got to get more in front of the net and get some more shots through. So we had 40 shots tonight, but I think we just got to get more in the interior, so we'll just work on that for our next game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer, obviously. I mean, we did get the last couple wins out of the 3. We ran into a hot goalie. I mean, we need to get to the net more, a little bit more, grind our stick a little bit more into the blue paint. But all in all, I thought we battled pretty good and just didn't go our way tonight. I think we just stayed connected well. I think we had good energy all around. Again, we didn't capitalize, but we did have our chances when we worked together. Not everything's going to come easy. I mean, it's winding down to playoff hockey, and it's turning into more games like that. So I think we need to just get to the net a little bit more, and obviously keep the puck out of our net a little bit more.
Nick Deacon-Poot looking like a hockey player.
He looks like he's ready for playoff hockey. He's a rookie, and he gets it. He knows that it's a grind, And the Komets don't have, last year, I believe it was 13, 14 rookies, and guys were just adjusting to pro hockey. It's completely reversed. We do not have that many rookies on this team, but Nick Deacon-Poot, he's learning the pro game, and he looked like he's going to be a very good professional hockey player here in the next couple of years. And, going back and kind of watching the video from last night's game, I think a lot of teams are kind of figuring out the Komets defensively. You get a good goaltender, and then you stack up in front of them. You give the Komets really all the zone play they want, but if they can't get through that wall, it's going to be a problem. So the Komets need to find a way to score more goals off the rush. This team obviously knows how to skate with Gorniak and Albahrani and Nolan Volkin and Ethan Keppen. So being able to win those battles in the neutral zone, getting those breakouts, and then burying your chances off the rush, even if it's on a rebound. So, and you look at Kirill Tatayev, another guy who I think is going to be pivotal as he is heating up, and you can tell he is on a different level. So it's just right now little tweaks, I think, in the offense. Again, other teams are starting to figure us out defensively, and plus, we played Kalamazoo 10 times. We know each other very well. We played Indy, it seems like 50 times. So it's like we have some familiarity there. So, it's going to be interesting going into that Iowa series, a team we have not played since opening weekend. They obviously have matched the Komets pretty much, game for game this year, and that is the potential playoff matchup right now as it sits. So, familiarity sometimes, that's going to breed comfort. So when you get out of that comfort zone, it's going to be a little different. So I'm really looking forward to really going to Wheeling, a team we haven't played a whole lot of, and then going to Iowa. I think these are going to be really good tests playing teams you haven't played.
Yeah, I mean, you give Tutayev a chicken nugget, he'll put it right in the back of the net.
Nice segue.
Yeah, let's take a look at the ECHL standings for this week. Obviously, you got Toledo number 1, Komets number 2, 73 points in 57 games. Iowa right there, and then there's that cutoff. But Bloomington 55, Kalamazoo 54 points, Indy 54, and Cincinnati 53. This is as tight as I can recall conference standings looking at this point, division standings looking at this point in the season for the Komets, where, like as we were saying last week and you were saying earlier in the show, every game now feels like a playoff game because your opponent is playing for that 4th spot in the Central Division. Yeah,
so the Komets can't get complacent. Again, you still have the lofty goal of catching Toledo, but now they gain 2 more points on you. So you only got one game in hand on them, and then you play one more head-to-head. So really, it's kind of like Iowa and Fort Wayne going to go back and forth for that 2nd and 3rd spot. So we're obviously still playing for something, but those teams coming in, they are all in it. We are not going to have a single team that is just playing out the string, if you will. So every team is a playoff game. So every game, we've got to be ready and come out and play really well to start the game. As the Komets have had some slow starts. We're the best 3rd period team in the league, which is great. But you know what? You want to have that cushion going into that 3rd period. I think the Komets are 20-0-1 when they have the lead after 2 periods.
So they can close the deal.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look at this week's schedule. As you mentioned, going out to Wheeling on Friday and Saturday, and then Indy on Sunday. Wheeling is a team this year, obviously. You haven't seen a whole lot of them. What do you know about Wheeling and what is going to be the key this weekend with 3 straight road games, 7 of the next 8 on the road? I mean, we know the month of March. Yeah. When we looked at this, we knew the month of March was going to be a challenge being on the road as much, but specifically against these 2 Wheeling games, your last, non-division games of the season?
Yes, and it's weird to say that because Wheeling changed divisions this year. But the Komets have been great on the road. 18 wins on the road, one of the best in the league. They have the most in the Central Division. So going on the road really isn't the concern, but good goaltending is, because that's what Wheeling has. They have got really, really good goaltending. They have been hurt over the past couple of months. They've lost guys up, obviously the call-up, and then a few guys have gone to Europe. So they're not as formidable as we have seen them. We only met them twice this year, so have split the season series, but they're trying to keep their second. Right now, they're in 2nd place in the North Division, and Norfolk is right on their tail. So they too are also battling for playoff position, even though their spot is pretty much secure. But they're going to play 12 Riviera on Wednesday, a team they're chasing. They still have a shot to get the top spot. So this weekend, it's going to be a war. It's been a great rivalry with Wheeling over the years, and I expect pretty entertaining hockey games. And then you got to go back to Fishers on Sunday to face another good defensive team. And all these games against Indy, with the exception of one or two, have been tight.
I know you're looking forward to Wheeling. Gorgeous this time of the year in West Virginia. For this week's edition of Komets Corner, he's Shane Albahrani, I'm Glenn Marini, and we'll talk Komets hockey next Monday here on Wayne.com.
Komets Corner is presented by Lee's Famous Recipe.